and welcome to the Creatives Get Real podcast. I am Roben-Marie Smith.
And I'm Sandi Keene, and these are real conversations about the creative life. Hey, Roben-Marie.
Hey, Sandi. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I can't complain. Doing good.
Cool. Okay, ready for this topic?
Yes, I think it's an awesome topic.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about the question that you and I get a lot. And it is, I'm thinking about turning my hobby into a business. So what should I do? How do I know if I'm ready?
Mm-hmm. And that's a very loaded question.
It is.
Because there's several things that we would suggest. And of course, everyone is different and everyone's in a different place when they ask this question. You know,
That's true.
Might be somebody who's been dabbling and doing videos and has a website, and you're putting things out there and people are responding and you're getting feedback. Maybe you've even sold a few of your own handmade journals, or maybe you even have a class, but you're kind of just dabbling a little bit and you're kind of wondering, should I take the next step? Or you might just be somebody who's like, I love this hobby and I want to make it a business. So what do I do? Where do I start?
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. And I think that's the kind of people that generally approach me are the ones that I've been doing art or something creative, whatever it is. And I think I want to make it a business, but how do I know? How do I know if I'm ready? How do I know if I really want to do this? So we've actually made a list of things that you should think about or possibly do/try. And we're going to go through them.
Yeah. And give you some of our, if we've got our own experience with these, and, just kind of give you some feedback on what we think would be a good place to start. And this is not exhaustive. There's definitely lots of ideas out there, but we've kind of honed it down to about 10 that we think are good and would be helpful.
Okay.
All right. You want to start?
Sure. The first one is give it a mini trial. And that means go ahead and make something. Choose whatever it is that you love to make them, sell them, and then see what you think about that experience.
Yeah.
And, it can be an Etsy store. It can be a pop-up sale on Instagram or whatever you choose. But give it a try. Get the experience of things like the hardest thing in the world, setting a price.
Yes. Yeah, that's not easy.
It's not. You don't know. And I think this is something you should almost never do alone. You always
that's a good
want
point.
someone else's feedback on. Yeah. Because 9 times out of 10, you're setting the price way too low.
That's correct. And this is this is really a good tip. I recently had someone who I work with, and she had sold some things, and she kind of did that little evaluation after. And it was sort of like, I don't know if I really liked that. There was a lot of work that went in. And I think it's easy to think, so-and-so's selling and somebody else is selling, and I'll just sell stuff. Well, yeah. I mean, great if you want to try that, but you got to consider, is it something digital that's deliverable through digital means, through email or download, or is it a physical thing that you've made that you're selling that you then have to decide, well, do I sell internationally? Do I sell domestically only? How am I going to set up that? How am I going to do the shipping? Am I going to do all that myself? Am I only going to sell during a short period of time? And I think what we are recommending is it be a short-term commitment. Don't go out and set up a Shopify store or something big like that if you're not sure. Etsy's super easy. You could set that up, or you could just do easily on Instagram, hey, I've got these journals. The first comment for this journal gets the product, and I will send you offline the information. So it's a great way to kind of get a feel for whether or not you even like the process, because there is work involved in it. It's a lot of work.
Much more than you think. And I think make 3 to 5 items. Don't make 30. Make 3 to 5 and then try it, because I can guarantee you that you do not, because you can't know until you've done shipping.
That's right.
Shipping. All I can think of is root canal and pap smear. Sorry to the men who, if there are any
That's
men
funny.
listening, but that
Yeah.
is what I equate it to.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a painful, embarrassing experience.
Well, and it's, having run two physical product type stores that I shipped a lot of product weekly, daily, you literally had to become an expert in shipping. Like if you
Yes.
had a question about shipping, and even still, I'm pretty up on it. I could answer your questions. I knew what the rates were. I know how the best way is to package something and not package it and all. And so you really do have to have a feel for that. And I'm not trying to scare anybody. It's just a reality. If you want to
I
just,
am.
okay. All right, Sandy is trying to scare you. She did say root canal, so
Yes, I did. Because you just until you get into it,
Yeah.
you don't realize how difficult shipping is. It is total pain in the fanny. From packaging to making sure it gets where you want it to go securely and safely.
Yeah.
To what happens if it gets there ripped, torn, broken,
That's
and you
right.
have to replace it on your dime.
Or it doesn't get there at all, which I've had that happen too. Yeah, sure.
Especially if you're going international.
Yep.
And the one thing it will do is, if you're going to ship product, is that you will have much more grace towards people. When they say, shipping is $8. And beforehand, you're like, are you crazy? There's no way I'm paying $8.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And then you ship stuff and you're like, oh, they're charging $8, but because it costs them $7.95 to ship it. And that nickel doesn't begin to cover their time, their packaging, or anything.
That's right. Yeah.
And then you start to understand shipping costs.
Yeah. That's true.
It's a big deal. So that, I absolutely think that's something that you should try, so that you know whether or not you can stand it.
Yeah, I agree. And
because you ain't gonna like it.
And we didn't say this on the outset, but these are in no particular order, by the way. We just jotted these down and we're just kind of going through them. So don't think that this is the order that we're recommending you start with. These are just some suggestions. So,
right.
Okay. So the second one is join a design team. And I like this one because I've actually worked with and had my own design teams when I had my own product lines. And it's a great way to, number one, work with a team, basically, but to be able to work with a schedule and deadlines and responsibility about things being done a particular way. Now, I'm not saying that if you start a business, you're having to answer to somebody, but there are times when you have to work within parameters. And so being on a design team is a great way to do that. It also gives you an opportunity to get your name out there, to get your whatever your skill is. Let's say you're working with a team and they design stencils or they design paint or whatever it is their product is. It's a great way for you to get seen by a lot of people and also by manufacturers. So a good way to prepare yourself if you want to be on a design team is you really need to be out there, because people are looking. When I went to look for the members for my design team, I was always looking on Instagram and I was searching websites. I was looking to see how many, videos on YouTube, because generally a design team is going to require video. They're going to require, that kind of work.
Right.
And I was looking for people that I thought they've got good quality video. They know what they're doing. I like their work. They have a presence, at least some presence online. And that was a selling point for me, to be able to say, I think I want to give them a chance. And so, and I've been on design teams too. So that's, yeah. So what is your experience or your feeling about the design team option?
I think it's a really good experience. I think there's a time and place for being on a design team. And then I think there's a time when you're past. Yeah. Like you and I now probably wouldn't join anybody's design team. We're kind of, we've already paid those dues, so to speak. But I think it's also a good experience. You meet other creatives that are about the same level you are, maybe a little above, maybe a little below. It's a good way for community. And it's a really good experience of meeting deadlines and working within parameters. and just building your skill set, because as you mentioned, there are a lot of skills, from being able to take good photographs to being able to write copy, to doing video. So yeah, you learn a lot being on a design team.
Yeah, you do.
I think it's a good experience. I think people should try it. Okay. I'm going to take the next one.
Yep.
Selling your product at a craft show at a local church.
I've done that.
I've done that as well. That is a good entry into selling. And the beauty of that is that you're face to face with your client rather than online.
Yep.
So you get to see people's reactions to your product. And it's a really good way to tell, like, what did they love? And what didn't they, that you thought they were going to love, but they don't.
Yep.
Because often, many, many years ago, my sister and I did ceramics together, and we sold them at craft shows. And what I thought was going to be the big seller was never the big seller. I was always shocked.
Yeah. I've had that happen to me too, where it's like, wow, I really didn't expect that. And it's important, if you're going to invest the time and effort and money into making your hobby a business, you want to make sure it's something that people want. I mean, that they're crazy about. And you're right. When you present that at a show, and I've done them where I've done them as a vendor at the art retreats, and you're there with your people. I mean, it is all people who are there for those art classes, and they're letting you know what they like and what they don't. The booths that have the lines, and you really do get to talk to individuals and see where they're at and what they enjoy. And I still today have customers that I met at those retreats, whether it was in the class or whether it was at the vendor show, who I still keep in touch with, who still keep in touch with me. So it's connections that you're making as well. So don't limit yourself with just the local craft shows or churches. If you've got a big event, art retreat in your city, consider being a vendor. You can apply to be a vendor whether you're teaching there or not. So those are definitely opportunities for sure.
Yeah, if you're ready. If you're ready to go bigger, go bigger. I think that, like a craft show is a really good place for your first time. Gives you, it really does give you an idea. And you probably aren't paying much in table fees.
Right.
To rent that space, it's not that much, maybe $35, $50.
Yep.
Yeah, which would be really different if you're in a bigger place. But yeah, I think it's a great way to get in front of people and see what they think.
And you have the experience of, again, the transactional part of things, the bookkeeping part, the keeping track of, those are all part of, running a business. And so whether you probably will have to take tax and whatever, there's just different things that are part of running a business. And those are some things that will come into play as doing that as well. So,
right.
Yeah.
Just even simple things like, what kind of bag are you going to put them in?
Yep.
Are you throwing in a freebie? Are you putting in your business card?
Yep.
Those kind of decisions.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. So the next one is build your Instagram audience. Absolutely. Building your audience. Yep. That's super important, especially as creatives and makers. The Instagram audience really is, I think, the best place. I mean, you can obviously post to Facebook, but I think our audience is really strong and really on Instagram because of it being so visual. And posting regularly to your Instagram, using Instagram stories, engaging people, comment back. Now you're going to miss some. I try to go through regularly, and hopefully I didn't miss anybody, but I try to answer every single comment with a response, a thoughtful response. Or if someone leaves a longer comment, then, engage with them and answer your direct messages, because that's what you're doing. You're building that audience, and those are the people that eventually, if you decide you want to be a business and sell, those are the people that are going to be interested because they're following you. They're following what you're doing.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's important, if someone gives you a comment that has, more than 2 or 3 words, this is what I do. I take the time to click on their bio name, go over to their account and see what their name is. and answer them with their name.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, okay, you are easy because your name
Is my name, right?
is your name. But let's say that the name is, New York Art Studio.
Mm-hmm.
Click over, and that is Deborah. Okay, Deborah, you go back.
Yep.
Try to spell their name right too. Names are important to people.
Yes.
And then say, thank you, Deborah. And then, keep going with your comment.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
personalize
is a
it. Mm-hmm.
big deal. If I know when you have, 25,000 followers, okay, can't do that anymore. But when you're building an audience and you don't have that many followers, you have time to do that.
Yep.
And it really makes a difference.
Yeah.
Because think about how you would feel if someone that you really, that you're following and you admire took the time to use your name. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
You feel special.
Yeah, I agree. Good point.
Okay, the next one is making art on a schedule, like joining a challenge. I love challenges.
Except for 100-day challenges.
Oh, yeah. That's not a challenge. That's torture. There's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Join a challenge, 30 days or less.
Okay.
Yes. Lord have mercy. Yes. Join a challenge. Get into the habit of making art on a regular basis and taking good photography. And we're going to talk about photography in a minute because I could really go on and on about photography. Well, I won't right now, but get into that experience of being in a community of people who are doing a challenge together.
Mm-hmm. And by doing that, a lot of them are on Instagram, or you're posting to Instagram, which will then in turn help you build your audience. It's a great way to build your audience. And there's several challenges that run annually that are out there. And we'll link, actually I did a blog post to that just came to mind, where I tried to add in as many that I could find that were regulars that they did every year. Like in March, there's March Meet the Maker. And it's a great way for you to share who you are personally out there as part of a challenge. Now, it's not an art challenge, but there could be art that you interpret maybe from one of the challenges. But it's a great way for you to build your audience, be part of a challenge, meet other artists. I've done that the last couple of years and I really have enjoyed it. And but Sandy's right. Being part of a challenge not only gets you on that schedule where you're creating, but it's also helping you with the community. You can help build your audience on Instagram. And it's important to be creating, because if you're looking at making a business, you're going to have to be a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to really juggle and plan and be more discerning about your schedule, because it's not like, there's things relating to a business that you have to do. You can't just, I'm playing hooky today and, the bookkeeping needs to be done or whatever. So I think keeping yourself where you're on an art schedule is important, because sometimes that slips when you make it a business. Yeah. And you want to enjoy your art and that creative time, even if you do create a business out of it. You don't want it to seem like it's just work and you're like, I'm not enjoying this anymore.
Right.
So
I'd like to make one more point about that, about challenges, is it also teaches you about hashtags. And every challenge has at least one hashtag. And if you don't use it, no one will find you.
That's right.
You have to start learning the power of hashtags.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The next one, you alluded to it a second ago, improving your photography skills. Oh my goodness. How can we express enough how important it is to have good photography, good lighting, clear. Okay. Let's just get down to the absolute basics here. Cause I'm always trying to enhance and develop my photography skills. I still think I have tons to learn, but I'm a lot better than I used to be. But it is so important. If it's not clear, if it's blurry, if it's dark, if you can't tell what it is, don't post it. It's better for you not to post it, because definitely quality over quantity. And it's so important. And I think one of the biggest challenges I hear from a lot of my students and members of my membership is lighting. Lighting is huge, and it's a challenge. because it's always changing. I mean, at one point in the day, that window and that spot might be great, but then in the evening it's not. So it's such a challenge to get your lighting right. And there's times when I'll take 10 or 15 pictures of something to get one that's going to work.
Right.
And moving things around and adjusting the background and the lighting to get it to where I feel like, yeah, this looks good. I can live with this. And it's work, but you get better the more you practice.
Exactly.
Yep.
I totally agree with you. Photography skills are so important. And even if you can find some YouTube videos or something where they explain about lighting, about natural light. I have a window in my studio that gets perfectly filtered light between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. in the summer. And that is when I take all of my photographs. It's between 4 and 6. And I put whatever I'm doing on a white canvas that reflects light back up onto it. And that's when I take my photos. If I can't, then I use a light box. Do you use a light box?
I have a light box, but I don't use it very much because it's really small. But I have those box lights in my studio and my that other ring light. And so it's just like having, but much like you, my perfect spot is my master bathroom. There's a window, right? It's one of those glass that you can't see through. It's like, it's got like a pattern in it or something, but the master tub, it's a garden tub, is right there. And I have a large canvas that if I slide it over the tub, it hits the lip of the tub and comes out, and I can do the photography in there. I can stand in the tub or move around and I can adjust it, and it's the perfect spot, but only during certain times of the day when you're here. So, and your point, great point. Also, don't just stop what you're doing and take a photo. Save up those things that you need to photograph when the light is good, and then do them all at one time.
Right.
And that way you get number one, you're batching what you're doing. So you're saving yourself a lot of time, but then if the light is good and you've got it set, then perfect. Get as many of those photographs done as you can.
Yeah. And learn some basic editing skills. The editing program on Instagram it's good. I mean, you can do some really nice editing of your photos on Instagram. If that's not what you want to do, look into some of the apps that do it and find something that helps you with your photography, because it's a big deal.
It is. It should definitely be something that you put a focus on, especially if you're going to sell what you're making.
Right.
You have to have really good photographs. It's very important, because someone's not going to purchase if the photos aren't good. It's just not going to happen. Or they're going to be Okay, you're next.
Okay, next, learn how to make basic graphics. And this is when, you want to just put some words on your picture. You want to be able to tell people this is for sale, this is how much it is. Basic graphics. I think do you use Canva all the time?
I use it a lot more than Photoshop now, because it's super easy. You got the templates are saved. You can copy and just keep using.
Yes.
Time saver.
So Canva, Canva.com. There's a free portion. I just use free. I know that you do the paid portion because you do tons of things on there.
Yep.
But learn how to make some basic graphics for Instagram stories, for Instagram posts. Those are different sizes.
Yep.
One's a square, one's a rectangle.
And it's already set in there for you. They already have the dimensions. You just choose, I want a Pinterest graphic. You choose Pinterest. There's even templates in there that you can pop in and just tweak and add your own. So a lot of that work is done for you, and they're saved right in there. So you can go right back to them and edit them or copy them and make new ones.
Right. So it's a good place to start with your graphics. So learn how to make graphics.
All right. Instagram stories. Love me some stories.
You're a pro. I'm a beginner.
I don't know about being a pro. I still have a lot to learn, but I'm definitely more comfortable than I used to be. When it first came out, I was like, oh, first of all, it's like, great. Now it's something else I've got to learn, just like when IGTV came out. But there are so many things you can do with Instagram stories. that where you can make it easy for yourself. The easiest thing to do, maximize your posts. If you've already posted something on Instagram in your feed, then share it to your Instagram story. Put your hashtags in there and say, hey, I got a new post over here. And if you want to tell them what the content is about, I've been running a series and I just put the name of the series part 1, and they can just pop right on over. So it's keeping your Instagram story up front and center for people who are following you, where they can be like every day, see, oh, she's got something. Share other people's posts. If you see a quote that you love, share that to your story. I mean, it doesn't have to be these, I mean, there's some pretty amazing stories out there. It doesn't have to be, but then use it for, personal things. If you're at the beach, do a shot. I mean, people go to that because they want to kind of see what you're up to.
Right.
Don't always make it so formal. I forget sometimes to be like, oh yeah, I gotta here's what I'm doing, or here's what I'm up to. Yeah. And also comment on other people's stories too. Part of that engagement and that building community.
Right. Some of my favorite of your stories is when you just turn the camera on your face and you're just talking like, I remember you were talking about the hurricane and you were going to the gym and, just those little snippets of 15, 20 seconds of, hey, yes, everybody knows we're going through this hurricane. This is what's going on. And I just want to update you. That I love those. So yeah, learn those. It's, I'm really, and yes, I'm talking to me. I'm getting better because I finally made myself do it. It's like, okay, stop being a baby and get into it. So I'm doing it too.
Okay. We got 2 more. What's the next one?
Teach a class to your friends.
Ooh.
If teaching classes is something that you're interested in, you want to try it, do one in your home. Invite your besties over and teach them a class and have that experience and see how you like it. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun too.
It is. Yeah.
That's great experience. Is that something you've ever done?
It is actually. And the last one was a little bit, maybe that would be like your next level from that, is to hold a day retreat at your house. I have done, they weren't really people I knew that well, but there was a lady that had reached out to me and I knew her from previous classes. And she said, I got all these lady friends that are coming into town. Would you be willing to teach a class? And I thought, well, it's small enough I could do it here at my house. And we did that. I had, I just charged them. Here's what they wanted. They told me what they wanted to do. We had a great time, and I, played with them and showed them and techniques, and there was just enough room for everybody. I made them lunch, and it was a lot of fun, but it wasn't quite as stressful as, going to a big location or a store and, having 25 people in there. So it was nice. And it gives you a feel for what it is like and how to organize and what to expect in that process. And I think even attending classes, which a lot of us have in person, is good, because that's how I learned when I would take classes and go, yeah, I didn't like this as a student, so I'm not going to do that as a teacher. Or I loved this as a student, I'm going to incorporate that as a teacher. And for in-person teaching. Now, online teaching is very different, but yeah, I think this is a great idea. Have you done this? I mean, we've kind of done this before. We get together and do this kind of stuff, but
yeah, we do. And, hold a retreat. I hold 3-day retreats at my house. Haven't done one in years, but that's a lot
of work. Now I haven't done that. I've only just done the day thing. So yeah.
Yeah. But it does give you a good idea of, how to organize and put all that information together. Okay.
So I think that we'll just touch on a couple of things here as we wrap up. It's important to, as you kind of go through these things, and I would get out your journal and jot things down, down some ideas of different things, the things we've mentioned or other things that maybe you've seen other people do, or things that you might be, I want to try that. And then see what you really liked. And then, as Sandi as a coach always says, okay, what didn't you like? And if you don't like it, don't do it. Don't make yourself do something that you don't enjoy doing. Just don't do it. And I think that by doing that research, it'll help you in trying any of these things to see what it is that you really, really like. Do you not like shipping? Do you absolutely hate doing all of that? Then maybe your product needs to be something digital.
Right. Or maybe you want to teach classes.
That's right.
Are you comfortable in front of the camera? Can you get comfortable? No one's comfortable the first 5 times. No one.
No.
But can you get comfortable and figure out where your skills lie and where do you need to improve? And then go find that knowledge on YouTube, take classes, whatever you need to do. Start building those areas that you realize you're weak in.
Yeah, and know that you're not going to get all of those areas accomplished at one time. Pick one. If it's the photography, if it's just building your Instagram audience, which if your photography is good and your skills are improving there, that's going to make your feed more appealing. So think of those things and think of, well, where could I start that's not too overwhelming? Maybe starting a day retreat at your house is not the first thing you choose.
I agree.
Yeah. So, and design team, apply to a design team. Maybe once your Instagram feed has good quality photos and you've got some videos on YouTube, then you're ready for that next step. So I think that's important. And, there's still lots of other things to try and to consider, but for the time we have, these were ones that we thought were important to share.
Yeah, it gives people a place to start, and they can start answering those questions so that they realize either, I really like this, I want to do a business, or heck no, this is what I do to relax, so I don't want to bring business into it.
Yeah, and I want to say this too, because this is important. I was just reaching out to someone who's presented this very question. I don't know, and what do I do? And one of the things that I thought was, based on what she had said, that I think is important, is just because other people that follow you are saying, oh, you should do this or you should do that, doesn't mean you should. You have to do, if the thought of making a business or selling your stuff just freaks you out and you're like, I don't really want to, then don't. Just because your fans are saying, oh, I love that and I want to buy that or whatever, that's great. But if you're not ready and you don't want to, don't do it because they're telling you, hey, you should do this, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Because you won't last long.
No. And it's not something I think you should go into if you're only looking at it to make money, because that's not you won't last either. You won't.
That won't sustain you.
It won't sustain. No.
There has to be passion and delight and joy behind it, or it doesn't last.
Yeah. Delight and joy behind it. I love that.
That's a good place to end.
I love that. Yeah. I think that's a great place to end.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Creatives Get Real.
We love hearing from you. So hop on over to Instagram and leave us a comment. And we also appreciate reviews on iTunes.
And you can find me, Sandi Keene, at sandykeene.com, and my classes at popupartclasses.com.
And you can find me, Roben-Marie Smith, at robenmarie.com. And if you're looking for and need tech support, check out my membership site, makerstechu.com.